What is going on, everybody? I am out on my favorite country road riding my favorite bike, the 2024 Kawasaki ZX-10R 40th anniversary edition. I need to take a break just to say that. It's a mouthful, right? Well, I'm going to make an argument today that this bike, this leader bike, is a great street bike. It's a great road bike. And I know you're screaming, no, it's too much. It's too much for the street. You can never get enough out of it, or you could always, drives me nuts, man. Let me tell you some of the things I've heard. And I'd say 50% of the people who talk to me, they like the bike, they admire the bike. I'd kill myself if I had that bike. Now, we're gonna take new riders out of it. Well, let's not talk about new riders, so because they should not start on 1000cc. I just made a video about that. But to say you're gonna kill yourself on it, why? Because it's fast? Because it has a high top speed? Don't you have any willpower? I'm cruising around the country at 37 miles an hour, having a great time. Sure, it could go 186, or the speed limit can, or the speedometer can, but that's not the point. That doesn't make it a bad bike. These bikes were made to be the fastest, the best handling race bikes, right? Why does that make it bad on the street? Now, in years past, they were real hard to handle. I agree with that. I rode them. I rode all the old ones, right? And you really had to watch yourself, or you were gonna loop out, or you were gonna low side, or you were gonna high side. They're so much better now. The electronics. I've been talking about this, and I'm making videos about it. You could hammer the throttle, you're not looping out. It barely, the front wheel gently lifts up and goes back down, and it doesn't even bother you. Like you barely, you just, it almost feels like the bike can't do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's just holding you back and jerking you around. It's nice. I like it. Okay, so it's too much for the road. This doesn't work with any other tool, right? They say, oh, hammers, they're too good at banging nails in the walls. A rock would work. Why would you need anything more than a rock, right? Oh, the couch is too comfortable. Why do you need all of that comfort? You're never going to use all that comfort. Sure, just about every bike and car can go more than the speed limit. Oh, why? Right? Why, why do you need all that? Well, you know what? I'm using it all the time. When I'm going from 10 to 30, I'm using the power. All they're talking about is the top speed. I'm not using the top speed, but I'm using all of that power the engine has. And nowadays, this 1000cc that's 456 pounds wet weight, it handles like a smaller bike. It handles better than my old 600. So now I have great handling, all the power in the world, and great brakes. Why is this not a good street bike? they used to overheat like crazy. And some of the Italian bikes now will still melt your legs off. That's gotten better. Imagine that. Just like everything else, it's gotten better. So that's not an issue. Now, a lot of people say the riding position. And one thing I gotta say is that's different for everybody. I know 2 other people in my small little circle of people who are much more comfortable on a sport bike than they are on a standard bike or a cruiser. I myself, I have a terrible back. It's destroyed. I feel 100 times more comfortable on this than I do on a cruiser. I had a Harley Davidson for that reason, thinking I would just be way more comfortable and laid back. That seating position was way harder for me than this. This is comfortable for me. Leaning forward like this, there's not a ton of weight on my wrist. I'm very comfortable on this 1000cc sport bike. So that's, you know, sure, there's going to be some people who this is uncomfortable for, but it's not everybody. That doesn't make this a bad road bike. There's a handful of people. And I challenge some people to come out and ride this ZX10. It's not like it used to be. These are way better than they used to be. They're easier to ride. They're great road bikes. It has cruise control. It's just different than it used to be. And I agree, before they were hard to handle and they weren't that much fun on the road. But they're different now. And people have to stop being closed-minded and stop saying, you know, they're going to kill themselves. Because come on, that's up to you. You know, and you know, I watch guys review bikes. I do it now, but I never have closed-minded views like a lot of people, you know, and they've been saying for so long that it's too much for the street that they believe it now, and everybody just believes it. Oh, your back, you're gonna ruin your back. That's why people don't ride them anymore, because they destroy your back. Not everybody, man. Not everybody. They said I wouldn't be able to ride. So, that's my argument. And if you don't, you know, you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. But if you haven't ridden one in a long time, you need to ride one. They're different now. This bike is a good road bike. You know, I listen to people all the time say they're no good. Some of my favorite YouTubers, Psycho Cruiser, you know, too much for the street, too much for the street. You know, he used to love his CBR. But this is a different bike. This is a new generation. They're constantly getting better. They tweak them all the time. A centimeter here, a millimeter there. And over the years, that ended up being a bike that is just so good to ride. It handles like a scalpel, you know, all the power you could want. And they made it easier. They made it easier to ride, easier to handle, which makes it safer. The brakes are incredible. I know I'm going on and on, I'm gushing, but I didn't expect this bike to be this good. And I'm thrilled that it is, and I want people who haven't been on one in a while, I want them to get on one. And without all those preconceived notions, and pretend they've never been on a sport bike before. And I want them to get on this bike and ride it and say it's not a good road bike. Sure, Downfalls are going to be the suspension's stiff, so the bumps are a little rough. I'll trade that for all of the other things I just mentioned. They're expensive, sure, but if you factor in inflation and all that jazz, it's not any more expensive. They're actually cheaper than they were in the 90s and 2000s. Imagine that, you know. But this is about the price of 1.5 other bikes. No problem. Take my money, please. Yeah, and if you haven't subscribe to my channel. A lot of good stuff coming up. As soon as Blackman's get some more demo bikes, I'm going to start doing some more reviews. And in the description, there's going to be links for the Insta 360 Ace Pro. I'm using that on my helmet and the 1RS right there that I'm looking at. So, yeah, you'll get a free gift if you buy it through my link, and I'll get a couple dollars. But it's the best camera out there, I'm telling you. I love it, and if they wouldn't have given me one, I would have bought it anyway. Don't tell Insta 360 that. Alright, catch y'all later.